Welcome to Riley and Leonora's Patreon and YouTube page. Thank you so much for stopping by. Riley and I are so excited to talk about a new segment that we're doing, Just Not Into You, where we're going to talk about men, women, and relationships.
Absolutely. I mean, the goal is just to pretty much let you guys know are you wasting your time or not.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a woman, I always like to see, where a man's mind is when it comes to furthering the relationship. Um, and we're also going to address women, is she a keeper or is she not a keeper? Vice versa. Is that man a keeper or not a keeper when it comes to long term, right?
Hmm.
So one of the things that I would like to know is, how do men know she's the one? How do men know she's the one that they're going to marry, or at least take it to the next level, to a proposal, a commitment? You know what I mean?
I think a man, a wise man, because you have men who are attracted to what they see, and you have men attracted to what they think they want to see. So I think that when you put the right investment and the right diligence in, you'll be able to come up with a fair assessment. But if you're looking at it through a personal ego lens as opposed to a spiritual objective lens, it could come back and haunt you.
Yeah, I love that you just said the word spiritual in it, because I feel like relationships too should be more of a higher conscious, than just shallow. You had mentioned, something about what men want to see. What do men want to see when it comes to a long term relationship?
I think it's important that have a woman that I'm gonna tell you this. A lot of times we're looking for compatibility. Is that woman compatible with me? I like blue, she likes blue. I like ice cream, she likes ice cream. I mean, when you're young or maybe in your 20s, that's kind of cute. But that may not be necessarily what's going to take you down the long term road. It's not so much compatibility as it is two people with the exact same goals going in the same direction. Because what happens is, unfortunately, if we both have a high level of accountability, then what we're great at. But what we suck at, we both suck at. So it's very important that we look at, does this woman and I share the same long term goal? And by that happening, it allows us to get back on track when we have difficulties down the road.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we're looking for people to finish each other's sentences. I mean, that's cute, but what does that mean?
I also feel like people are so hung up on like soulmates and twin flames, and in the spiritual community you hear that a lot. So I come from the spiritual community, and I always hear twin flame and soulmates, and that's fine and dandy. But I love that you're always saying, Riley, that a relationship should have a common ground, in common interest, because that you see that relationship going further than as if shallow thinking. You had a very good analogy about shallow.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. If people are just compatible but don't necessarily have the same exact life goals, what will happen is they'll be competing with each other more than looking at things, you know, together, with the same mindset. Some people might say, well, isn't compatibility and going down the same road together the same? Not necessarily. What that just means is that your likes and their likes are similar. We can have the same likes, but like it a different way. So in other words, we both like ice cream, right? Okay, we compare. We like ice cream, but she don't like vanilla, and I like chocolate, right? So it's compatible in the sense of ice cream, but not compatible in the sense of flavor. See, when you have the same exact life goals, it long term life goal perspectives and visions and mind frame and mindset, then what happens is you understand where the road is supposed to end or where the road is supposed to start. And even though it may be different ice creams, it doesn't matter. The goal is you know how to get to the store to get it. And I think that's what's important.
Right. So I mean that's amazing when it comes to compatibility and long term. Now, do men have a typical approach when it comes to seeing their woman, like the whatever whoever they're interested in? Do they have like a typical approach to making that girl their long term person? Meaning once let's just you just finished talking about long term, but the initial relationship, Riley, the initial relationship, once that relationship gets started, do men typically have like a certain body type or the way they speak or the job or career they're into, how many children they have? What affects a man from thinking wow, she's the one for me long term versus what, I'm just gonna just stay with her because I'm comfortable with her for the moment?
I mean, when it comes to a man's mindset, I don't think it's one size fits all, but I think whatever size he chooses, it behooves him not to have her on the exact same page, and her fulfilling out that what he needs done. So I if what a man should want in a woman is one that's going to make whatever he wants greater, and then at the same time her input should also be in accordance with that same law. Because I think eventually a man that doesn't know what he wants is going to cause confusion. I said this a million times. You guys heard me say it a million times, so I'm not going to keep repeating that. But I got that point already. Are you asking me specifics in regards to what a man may be interested in?
So, for example, I just I'm crushing on you and you're crushing on me.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the signs that says, what, I see you for the next 6 months versus I see you for the rest of my life?
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna come to you and be like, yo, listen, Leonore, this is my goal, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I want us to do.
In the first month of the relationship, you're telling me that?
Yeah, I'm telling you what my goals are. Because my goal is going to happen with or without you. So are you going to take the ride with me or not?
I'm listening.
No, that was a question.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to take the ride with me.
What are your rides? And what are your goals? And maybe I'm not interested in the same.
But that's why you're having that conversation.
Right.
Because now I'm going to tell you, in 3 or 4 years from now, I want to get into this, that, and the third. And you're going, and if you're a keeper to me, you're going to be like, that's a wonderful idea. I can definitely see that happening. Let's make it happen.
Right.
But if you say to me, hey, well, I'm kind of a regular, basic. I don't really want to get all into that. Then right then and there, that man should say, you know what? It's not going to work. It's not my job to try to influence you to do that. Unless you're saying you don't know, it has not introduced you before, can I give you some information, some insight, and it will allow you to make an assessment based on what I'm laying out. That's different. But if you're very clear and concise that it's not for you, I'm not trying to change your mind at this stage of my development. It's just not for you. Now,
and you won't express that to that person. You're just going to just
no, let her know. Like, okay, you know what? This is not for you. I'm not going to waste any time. Out of respect for my time, I'm not going to waste yours.
Mm-hmm. What do you say to men, or I should say, what do you say to women who men are not as expressive? Because that's another issue with men not expressing or communicating rightly. Sometimes I may say emotions is a big thing when it comes to men expressing their emotions, and I understand men do have different love languages, but nevertheless, a man should express, hey, I don't want to waste your time. Why is it so hard for them to say, I don't want to waste your time, I'm moving on? Not all men, obviously. You're very outspoken, obviously. There are a lot of men that will waste a woman's time.
Well, let me ask you this question: when you say a man waste a woman's time, now, if he tells her that he may not necessarily want to take a long term route with her, does that necessarily mean that he can't have a short term route with her?
Is he expressing that situation?
That's the $1,000,000 question.
Because if it's breadcrumbing is what they call it, right? So that's what I hear in the community.
Yeah,
breadcrumbing.
Right.
So and it's I just want to make it clear because I sometimes have issues with men not communicating. That to me, and listen, I have problems communicating as well. So I'm not excluding just men have problems communicating.
You do?
But I do have a lot of problems communicating, like my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to time, I do not waste people's time. If I'm not interested in you, I'll probably ghost you.
Now, you see, hold on a second. That's hypocrisy. You just said a few minutes ago, wasted a man by not being expressive. And you turn around and say, I'll ghost you. You didn't communicate to me.
I mean, eventually I will ghost you. But, I know that sounds harsh because there's people that really ghost and you don't hear why they ghosted. Sometimes that is me. I'm not going to lie. But I know that I'm not going to waste your time or my time. And I may there's reasons. There's always reasons why I kind of cut off the relationship, and I'm not expressive about it, and it just reminds me of how men don't communicate like this to a woman. So I guess it is kind of the same thing, right, Riley?
I mean, I think sometimes
a man is quick to ghost and really to express himself, because that's where I'm really getting at. Like, they don't express that.
Well, I think it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Women don't always express exactly the way they feel emotionally. They give subtle hints. Men might not give any hints or be extremely blunt. Men will either very blunt or just slowly just not give you his time anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Untether.
Yeah, if they were tethered in the beginning in the first place. Women give subtle hints. Women will use there's cues that they use or don't use.
What are those cues?
I think one of them is her texting game changes. Mm-hmm. When a woman's really into you, she usually wants to text you last all the time because she subconsciously and spiritually is still trying to bond with you through devices, but she really doesn't want to go. You know what I'm saying? When a woman's not into you, she LOLs you, leaves you on red. Or doesn't respond for hours and hours, or maybe even the next day. She's trying to let you know her interest is somewhere else. So men need to look at that too.
Does it go both ways? It does, right?
I think it does, but the difference is, certain types of men
will play you.
They'll call you and text you or whatever, and then take breaks for months and still hit you up like, yo, what's up?
Yeah. Like nothing happened.
Nothing happened. So what that means most of the time is, like, I still want to sleep with you, but I don't really want to give you too much of my time. Mm-hmm. Because maybe that man has already invested a lot of time with her, and he wants a return on his investment. That's how he may look at it. Personally, me, I think you waste more time chasing that which isn't worth it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you had sex before, I don't know why you think it's gonna be too much different. That's your ego. That's your one more notch in the belt mentality. I'm saying sometimes rejection is protection. You know, so sometimes the man ghosting you or not talking to you, not telling you, is that he has lost interest to the point of, but he still may want you sexually. You know, because men like sex for different reasons than women like sex. I mean,
It's their nature, correct?
men like to spread their seed as much as possible. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's in a man's nature to want to spread his seed as much as possible. Um,
I think that's something that women really have to understand, right?
yeah, well,
If they know that from the get go, it's like, okay, well, this person is interested in me and I'm interested in this person, but there's always a possibility that they may venture somewhere else. And that's the scariest part for both men and women, you know?
but I think that not like I said, not all size fits all, but there are some men that are just comfortable not being in level of commitment. But my thing is just tell her that.
What are the red flags? Because Riley, once again, not all men are going to communicate that.
What are the red flags that a man? I mean, you have to look at what was he doing when he was interested that he's not doing now. And most of the time, 90% of the time, when a man is giving you a lot of his time, he's really into you.
Okay, so giving time to that person.
Right. Because men get bored of women pretty fast, and women get bored of men. Like women, sometimes men is like yeah, like
What would make them bored?
it's,
Because it really also depends like on astrology, zodiac signs.
it could be lack of compatibility.
Right.
But sometimes men, you know, desires are different. Men like to venture out and see and try new things and curiosity and you know, different women, and it's just that
Isn't that
experience.
called sowing your royal oats? Shouldn't you have done that before you think?
Well, if he's married, then he should. But if he's not married, he's just curious about different women and learning different things about women and wanting to, see if he still got it, if he's older, or there's just different. There's different things, but at the same time, it's in him. It's in him to desire different women. It's in him to even want more than one woman. He's not going to tell you that. He's not going to tell you he wants more than one woman.
Okay, Riley. Because I'm a different breed, so I'm going to ask this question.
There you go.
I don't give men leashes. So let's talk about women who give men leashes because of what you just explained to me, how men get bored and they need to, experiment in some shape, form, or other, whether it's just talking platonically or not. There's some women that will give their man a leash, and again, it could also go, vice versa, where a man is very possessive of their woman.
Well, first of all, no woman should be giving no man no leash. First of all, so if you give a man a leash, that means he's a simp. Cause you're not allowed to dictate how far and how short I could go.
Yeah.
So by you giving him a leash, that means you're giving him permission. And giving him permission means that you dictate the pace.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Well, not in my book anyway. I don't know what kind of leashes you give these men.
So what are okay. So I don't give men, I don't believe in leashes, even
Right.
with my own children. I believe in freedom and exploring and experiencing, whether you're in a relationship or not. But I think it's unfair to dictate people's whereabouts. It's okay, obviously there has to be some mutual respect. So with the respect already in the relationship and the trust already in the relationship, you're right, I agree with you, there shouldn't be a leash. So what makes a woman want to give a leash to a man, or a man be possessive towards a woman? Could it be because past relationships or insecurities?
I mean,
because there's some men I see men that are very very secure and confident, and then they'll find a woman that's that's like dictating where they should be or call them every time. Do you not get bored of that, or I don't know? I feel like men just get bored no matter what.
I mean, I like I said, you end up how you start.
Right.
You know, if all y'all wanted was something that was based on lust or low vibration connection, then you get what you put out.
Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever, leash or be obsessed. All that has to do with, it has nothing to do with the other person. That has to do with them. They're trying to maintain pace or maintain standard in their own mind that they think is going to make the relationship be where they want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't determine that. You can't dictate somebody else's free will. It doesn't operate that way.
Yeah.
And that's what people are not understanding. You know, I'm jealous. So because I'm jealous, I got to make sure you're not doing nothing wrong because I'm jealous.
Yeah. Okay. So shouldn't they that's a red flag, obviously. And you're right. Usually you will see that in the beginning of the relationship. Is that where you're like, okay, this is not going to work out between you and I because you're this way, or you're projecting this behavior that may get worse in the future? Obviously you should talk about it before you ghost, but but nevertheless, I just feel that men, sorry, I just got ADD there for a second. Men and women, like you said, it starts from the very beginning. So if the red flag is there, what should be that person's next step, whether it's a man or a woman?
But I think the issue is, I think what you're trying to say is that, what are the laws and rules of closure?
Yes, closure. Yes.
Closure's not men don't do closure, Mom.
Yeah, they don't.
Men don't do closure. Women need closure so they can emotionally detach. But most men don't. Men that are in a healthy mental state don't operate off that level of emotion. So there is no need for closure. Once we are no longer talking anymore, we don't have any legal documents.
It fizzles out.
Yeah.
It just okay.
Right. It's think like an iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hot. You unplug it. It's still hot, but eventually it starts to subside. The heat subsides, right? You don't go to the iron and say, "Dad, you're not hot anymore." You unplugged it. That was supposed. So when people are no longer connected and they don't have any other legal things binding them, there's no kids involved. Does he really have to say to you, you know what? I want to, go in other places. He could respectfully, but because check it out. If she wants closure, all she's saying is, I want to give you a piece of my time to discuss with you why I don't want to see you no more.
Yeah. See, I don't believe it. I understand the closure, dynamic. I just feel like that's
I'm not giving you
unrealistic.
I'm gonna close the door.
It's so unrealistic.
I'm gonna close the door on you other side of it, but I'm not gonna give you no closure. I don't feel the need to have to explain myself why we're no longer kicking it anymore. If I don't call you and you don't call me, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if I'm promising you a whole bunch of lies and shit, and I'm telling you this, that, and the third, then I misled you and deceived you.
Correct.
That is not correct, because now you're not really being a true man. If you don't want, if you don't make promises that you can't keep, don't do that. Stop selling your soul for pussy.
Mm-hmm.
Stop telling her all this just to get her. You're too old for that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 no more. You don't have to whisper all these things in her ear to impress her. And man, be a man. You'd be surprised how being honest will get you a lot more women than telling a whole bunch of lies. Because how do you know? Maybe, just maybe, all she wants to do is be with you for one night her damn self. You don't really know what's on her mind. Mm-hmm. So don't sell her long-term dreams with the short-term fantasy, a short-term mind frame.
Yeah.
And women, that closure stuff is not a guarantee for you to go get it from men.
Mm.
you have to accept the fact that there might not be any closure.
Yeah.
Because strong men don't do closure. I'm not going to sit there and explain to you, it's time for me to dismiss myself. We don't have anything tethered. We don't have anything that I'm saying is cool.
But that brings me to another question, Riley.
All right.
Men take the when it comes to heartbreak, it's a lot different for men than it is for women. But I just feel like it's still the same. A man may not even express how they really feel and how hurt. Once the relationship ends, how hurt they are. They may not express it, for whatever reason that may be. Women will, obviously are more quick to express it to their friends or to that very same person. But what's the difference between a men's heartbreak versus a woman's heartbreak?
Well, the first and foremost, pardon me, is that no man should ever put himself in a position to get his heart broke or be mad that somebody doesn't want him anymore.
But it happens.
So the fuck what? Somebody don't want you no more? Bye. The fuck you sitting there?
Riley, you need to process these feelings, whether it's within yourself, because otherwise you're going to drag that same pain unto the other relationship.
What I'm saying is that you have to get to the level of where you don't have an attachment to anything anyway, because you understand nothing is forever. So if somebody no longer wants to be with you, why would that break your heart? They don't want you anymore.
It hurts, Riley.
But I'm saying, that's where I say, see, this is what I'm saying to people. You have to have a high level of self-esteem and really value the fact that nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Once you put yourself in a position where you're dependent or emotionally attached to something, then that comes with something. When you attach yourself to something, when you tether yourself to something, the consequence is that you stand a very great chance of you being hurt by it. A man has to be on his mission and his purpose, and he can't expect to be worrying about somebody that doesn't want him anymore. Because this. First of all, let me give you some statistics and some stats about relationships. Not 80 to 90% of the time, the woman leaves the man. Okay, divorce rate is 85%. The woman get divorced. Breakups, most of the time, women leave the man. Men don't leave the woman. So statistically, as a man, you're more likely to get left before you leave her, according to statistics. And every man in here knows how many times you've been in a relationship and the girl left you. And how many times have you left her? And be honest, you know what I'm saying is true. I'm not talking about some fun, kicking it after the club, one night stand shit. I'm talking like y'all in a bona fide relationship. 90% of the time, she leave your ass anyway.
But Riley, 90% of the time, it's because a man cheated or lied.
We're not talking about that.
No, we are.
No, we're not.
Because why would the woman break up with them in the first place?
But we're talking about. But the fact is,
and I'm just putting out a number. I don't know if it's 90%.
It's not.
But it's a big majority of the time. It's because they got their trust was broken.
Well, but I'll say it again. You end up how you start out. You should not even told her you wanted a relationship. Then you wouldn't have had the problem. You tell her you only want to be with her, but you want to be with other women, and now and look what happens. But regardless of the fact that she's gonna leave you, for whatever reason it is, sometimes she leave you because you didn't do what you're gonna do. Sometimes she leave you because you're not the man she thought you was. Sometimes she leave you because you're not goal orientated. Sometimes leave because you cheated.
Yeah.
Okay. There's many reasons why women leave. Sometimes she leave you because
all of the above.
You don't want what she wants anymore. Like I said before, the goals. You know what I'm saying? Part of the goals is saying, listen, I don't want nobody else but you. You don't want nobody else but me. And we're gonna travel now. This is the goal. See, you're not having the conversations from the beginning, and that's why you end up it's come back and bite you. But back what I was saying, you got to get on your purpose and your mission, and as a man, and not be concerned with that some women don't want you anymore, and you crying and being on set like a little baby because somebody don't care about you no more. Let me tell you something, bro. When you got your shit together, you don't ever have to worry about woman seeking. Women can sniff you out and know you about your business. So you sitting up there, crying and because somebody don't want you, you need to work on how you value your self-esteem and how you value your goals, because everybody's replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. So even the person that you marry, and you'll love each other to death. Somebody gonna die first.
Riley, let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Have you ever gotten hurt?
Never.
But so what?
Never.
So then, what is hurt? What does hurt mean to you then? Because I'm sure you were rejected, correct?
That's not hurt. That's somebody don't want me. All right, that's cool. It's not hurt.
Right. But still, I mean, what's the longest relationship you've been in? Because people are in relationship for years, and it hurts them, versus a relationship that was for 1 year.
I understood my father taught me at a very early age that do not attach yourself to anything, because nothing in life is going to stay. I'm not saying that you don't care about people. I'm not saying that. But somebody else's choices is not supposed to affect you. I've had women that I've dealt with, and they no longer wanted to be in my life anymore, and I had to respect it.
So that right there, that part right there, there's a rejection. You don't feel hurt?
No.
Because
she has a right to do whatever she wants.
That doesn't hurt you, right?
No, it doesn't hurt me. You know why? Because three things are going to happen in life. I'm going to leave her first. She's going to leave me first. Or actually four. I'm going to leave her first. She's going to leave me first. I'm going to die first. She's going to die first. There's only 4 options in this world.
You don't get a little lump in your throat?
No.
No tear coming down your eye?
No. I'm dead ass serious. And the real G's that listen to this, like, I'm telling you, the girl is saying, the people will be like, that nigga lying. All right. And the men will be like, that's real. I'm not saying that it doesn't feel good to have somebody that you care about not want you around them anymore. But to be hurt and to be sad and be crying over it, nah. You can go.
You don't have like a day of
Listen,
somber.
this is social media, right? So social media, if you're lying, it's gonna come back and bite you. So now that it's out as a public figure and it's out, any woman that I've dealt with, did I ever call you back? Did I ever cry on the phone? Did I ever show any feelings about your departure? Let them come and ask. They're gonna tell you, nah, he definitely did. Mm-hmm. Nah. Bye.
Bye.
You know what I'm saying? Woman can't ever say she see me even cry over her. Or cry in front of her.
But what do you say to
or
the
cry,
men
period.
What do you say? Because I've been with men that have cried. Whether it's because they felt guilty.
Okay.
Or they have some freaking trauma from childhood or past relationships.
That makes sense. That makes sense,
correct?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because see, now that's the thing. Other things have happened to them that have influenced their higher level of self. And when you have that tampered with mentally, guilt, it's easy to feel guilt. It's easy to feel like the person left you, so now you no longer have a right to live. I think people kill themselves and the woman that they say they love. Mm-hmm. Because they're not operating off the higher level of self. Mm-hmm. Because it's almost like when I go to funerals, I don't cry. Because I understand that we're not supposed to be here forever. Mm-hmm. It's the same mentality. It's not trying to be a tough guy. It's not trying to act like I don't care. It's that I understand the circle of life in its entirety. I understand. And if I or somebody chooses to operate and say, you know what, I no longer want to be in this person's proximity, who am I as a person to force them or want them to want to stay? The door is not prejudice. If you turn it, it's going to open, and they can leave. You know, that's just how I see it. And I'm saying that I know that connects back to what we're saying is that, you know, part of also being attractive in having a high level of masculinity is that you are focused on what's best for you first. That makes you a good leader. You take it on the chin, you lead. You know what I'm saying? Somebody came in this house right now, right? What you gonna do? It's my job to make sure everybody in the house is safe, right?
How are you gonna do that? Entertain me.
Come on, why are you playing with me? Why are you playing with me? I'm gonna tell you to take your ass in the other room.
First step.
Take your ass in the room.
Second step.
Let me
handle this.
Let me take the helm on the situation. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that you can't go get a pot or something and help me out, but I'm supposed to
some ropes.
I'm supposed to make sure that you're good, and that's not emotional. That's not me being like tough guy. That's just instincts for me. Mm-hmm. You know, and I feel the same way about departure. It's instinct for me to not, you know, if you know. I think why most people feel bad and guilty most of the time is because they weren't true to themselves in the relationship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So them not being true to themselves, they're having a hard time with the person leaving because they've been lying to themselves and that person. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's guilt.
Yeah.
You know,
it comes from the tears come from somewhere.
If you date a woman and you're dealing with her and you tell her like, listen, the day you decide to leave, I'm not gonna beg you to come back to me. I'm not gonna ask you to stay. I'm just not gonna do it. Now there are times in relationships where people take breaks or there's little beef, a little argument, and if you wanna talk to that person and find out, are y'all really truly done to have some clarity, that's fine. And if she says to you, no, I'm done, don't call me anymore, brother, don't call her. Do not give women attention that don't have no respect for you. Leave them alone. Because every time you call her when she don't want you no more, her respect for you starts going like this. You may make her feel good sometimes when she's lonely, like you like a little orbiter around her, like keep her attention, but she don't want that. She don't respect you no more. So why are you chasing what don't respect you? Now you want something that don't want you? She don't want that. Ladies, would you please tell these dudes, please tell these dudes. When you don't want him no more and he keep asking to be with you, that's not turning you on, it's turning you off.
But that's another factor there. Why they're doing that? What's the clinginess?
Because they're operating off their ego and they're being emotional. They're making it about themselves. You can't leave me because I'm not ready for you to let me go. So I've attached myself to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I've lost my purpose and sense of self, and I can't function unless you're next to me. So in a woman's mind, like a strong woman gonna be like, wait a minute. So even if I take him back, what's his goal? To make sure I don't leave him again? What's his drive? How am I gonna be attracted to a man sexually I don't respect?
I agree. It can't go back to the same situation. Like there has to be.
Most times you go back, it don't work out. Yeah. Now listen, I know
it doesn't work out always.
In a million, I'm not saying every single time is going to be perfect. What I'm saying is 100% right, but I'm saying in the high 90s. So if you was going to get an operation and the doctor told you there's a 90% chance, there's an 8% chance you were going to live at a 92, would you still go to that surgeon? You're not gonna get on that table. So I'm not gonna take a risk with a probability of high 90s that I'm gonna beg somebody to be with me and they're gonna take me back and love me again. It's not gonna happen, bro. It's a very high number. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Now listen.
And for women too.
Listen. If I'm not trying to say because you crying, you soft or you weak. I'm just saying, why don't you reassess why you're really, really sad deep in your heart? Why are you really, really sad and fix it? Because guess what, man? Guess what? People, doctors, lawyers, chemists, singers, wealthy people, influential people, stars, engineers, they get cheated on and people walk away from it every day. It ain't had nothing to do with your social status, it had nothing to do with your money. People have the right to walk away, and you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. That was a great closing, actually. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you,
Once
everyone.
Again.
Yes, for stopping by and supporting us. Honestly, Riley and I have a lot more topics to talk about. Trust me. So we'll see you next time.
I got about 50 right now in my head, right?
Yeah. Well, that
but she won't let me. But she no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. No.
That's not. Don't listen to him. However, that reminds me. If you have any topics that Riley and I should talk about and address, please email us and let us know. Right, Riley?
Yeah.
Besides your 50 topics.
Yeah, I hope I answered that question in the beginning about. I think I did, right? About the about the thing. Like
about what thing?
Like is she being a keeper and men and not in the clothes? I think we covered it.
Is
right?
she a keeper?
I think we covered it. If you feel like I didn't cover it, no way, we could just do part 2.
You did. There's so much to say, but you did. You did address it. Not 100% the way I know you would want to address it.
What that mean?
Meaning a textbook of how you usually address things. You just, you kind of...
Because I got all the information in my head.
See what I mean? All right. Anyway, goodbye, everyone.